So, good morning, students. Today,
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
please mute yourselves. Please mute yourselves. So, today we are going to start with second topic, that is objectives of communication. So, on the screen, you can see objectives of communication. Our learning objectives are to define objectives of communication, to enumerate various objectives of communication, to elaborate various objectives with suitable examples, to understand advantages and disadvantages of various objectives of communication, to compare and contrast various objectives of communication, to explore the effective techniques of achieving the objectives of communication. So, I request all the students to keep their pens and papers ready and note down the main points. Objectives of communication. A goal is a broad desired result one wants to achieve in long term. An objective, on the other hand, refers to the specific measurable actions one must take to achieve the overall goal. For example, your goal is to become BCom graduate, but to become a BCom graduate, you have to pass in all the subjects. So, to pass in each subject is your objective. Your goal is to become a graduate, and your objective is to pass in each and every subject. An objective must be SMART. By SMART objectives, we mean specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. An objective must be specific. It should not be general. It must be measurable. If you are not able to measure it, then you cannot achieve that particular objective. For example, you cannot say that I want to become a rich person. Now, rich is a general term. It is not specific. You have to be specific. You have to say, for example, I want to earn 1 crore rupees. Now, this is specific and measurable. You can measure whether you have got 10 lakhs or 50 lakhs or 1 crore or 1.5 crore. It is measurable, it is specific. If you just say, I want to become rich, rich is a very generalized term. It is not measurable. The next one is achievable. If you say, I want to earn 1 crore rupees in a single day, is it achievable? Is it realistic? Question mark.
Yes.
No.
Please mute yourself.
No.
Please mute yourself. If I ask you a question, I will make a statement. Please answer. Otherwise, I want everybody to mute themselves. Don't disturb. So, when we say it must be achievable, you can say that in 1 year or in 5 years, I want to earn 1 crore rupees. Now, you have to see whether it is achievable. What type of job you are doing? How much you are earning per month? If you are earning 10,000 rupees per month, is it possible to earn 1 crore rupees in 1 year? Is it realistic? No.
No.
Please mute yourselves. So you have to see whether your goal is, your objective is achievable, is it realistic, and whether it is time bound. You have to give a specific time limit. You can't say that I want to earn 1 crore rupees in my entire lifetime. Now you don't know what is your lifetime. Some people die at very young age. Some people die at the age of 80. So it is again not specific, it is not measurable, it is not time bound. So whenever you are defining your objective, it must be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. When these 5 qualities are achieved, the objective is called a SMART objective. Now, when we talk about objectives of communication, there are primary objectives and secondary objectives. Under primary objectives, you have information, advice, order and instruction, education, and warning. Under secondary objectives, you have persuasion, motivation, and raising the morale. Please note down the difference between goal and objective. And SMART objectives: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound.
Ma'am, we have to draw this table.
What? Sorry, I'm not able to get. I'm not able to understand you.
Ma'am, we have to draw these tables.
Don't draw.
Okay.
So, the first objective is information. The word information comes from Latin word informare, which is a verb, which means to give form to the mind, to discipline, to instruct, to teach. Under information, we have 6 types. The first one is procedure. Procedure is a set of steps an individual performs to complete a single task. For example, you have a recipe book. In that recipe book, the complete procedure of making a particular recipe is given step by step. It is given which are the things that the raw material that you require. Then what you will do first. Then step number 2, step number 3, step number 4. So everything is given in an ordered manner. So this is known as procedure. Then the second type is process. It is a series of events, stages, or phases that occurs over time and has a specific outcome. Mind you, in procedure, a person performs these steps. In a process, it is not necessary that a person performs the steps. For example, when you talk about process, communication is a process. I had given you the diagram of communication. First, you have sender, then you have encoding, message, decoding, receiver. Receiver, encoding, feedback, decoding, sender. And it is performed through channel, and there are barriers. So this is a process. Next one, you have principle. Principle is a statement designed to dictate, guide, or require behavior. Next, you have concept. Concept is a class or group of things that share a critical set of attributes. Any type of definition is a concept. You define an idea as a concept. For example, When you talk about atom or when you talk about a compound, it is a concept. Sender is a concept. Feedback is a concept. Next, we come to structure. Structure is a description or depiction of anything that has parts or boundaries. For example, structure of human body. The entire human body has different parts such as eyes, nose, mouth, ears, hands, legs, etc. And the last one is a fact. Fact is a statement that is assumed to be true. For example, Earth revolves around the sun. It is a fact. So please note down the 6 types of information. You have procedure, process, principle, concept, structure, and fact. I repeat, procedure, a set of steps an individual performs to complete a task. Process, a series of events, stages, or phases that occurs over time and has a specific outcome. Principle, a statement designed to dictate, guide, or require behavior. Concept, a class or group of things that share a critical set of attributes. Structure, a description or depiction of anything that has parts or boundaries. Fact, a statement that is assumed to be true. Next comes advice. Information plus opinion is equal to advice. Now, you can see over here, there are 4 different words: order, counseling, advice, and suggestion. Now, in case of order, it is formal, obligatory. Obligatory means compulsory. It is given by the authority, and it is objective and impersonal. For example, when I tell you to note down the important points, it is an order. It is formal, it is compulsory, it is given by teacher to the students. Teacher has the authority over the students, and it is objective and impersonal. This is an order to all the students. Please note down the important points. When it is counseling, again it is formal, but it is voluntary. Whether you want to do it or not depends on you. Then it is given by professional and expert. The professional and expert may not be an authority. For example, when you go to the doctor gives you the prescription. It is formal, it is by a professional and an expert, but whether to follow it or not, whether to take the medicine or not, it depends on the patient. It is voluntary. It is again objective and impersonal. For all different diseases, there are specific medicines. It will not differ from, suppose there are 2 patients and they suffer from the same disease, then medicines will also be the same. So counseling is formal, but it is voluntary. It is given by expert and professional, and it is objective and impersonal. Next, we come to advice. Advice is again formal. It is given, it is voluntary. Whether to take it or not depends on you. It is again given by an expert or an experienced person, but it has personal touch. In case of counseling, there is no personal touch. In case of advice, there is personal touch. Then we come to the suggestion. Suggestion is given by anybody to anybody. Suggestion is informal. It is voluntary. It is given by layperson and it has the personal touch. For example, during the pandemic of COVID-19, you have seen that many people are giving the suggestion to improve your immunity. You should eat this food, you should do this thing so that you can improve your immunity. Now, this is general suggestion. These suggestions are not given by the doctors, but they are given by the lay person. So, this is the difference between order, counseling, advice, and suggestion. So, please note it down. You need not draw the diagram. Write the word order, put an arrow, and then write the 4 points. Likewise, write the word counseling, put an arrow, and write the 4 points. So I repeat, order is formal, obligatory, authority, objective, and impersonal. Counseling, formal, voluntary, professional and expert, objective, and impersonal. Advice, formal, voluntary, expert and experienced, personal touch. And finally, suggestion, informal, voluntary, layperson, personal touch. Now, we will see order and instruction. These are guidelines from superiors to subordinates. Now, order and instruction must be complete. It should cover everything. What, why, when, where, who, and how. An order must answer these 6 questions. What, why, when, where, who, and how. What means task. Why means purpose. When means time. Where means location. Who means agent. And how means manner. Then it must be concise. Concise means precise and to the point. Clear means easy to understand. Coherent means logical flow. Concrete means no abstract words leading to confusion. Correct means factually and grammatically correct. There should not be any errors of grammar and spelling. At the same time, there should not be any error of fact. And finally, It must be courteous. Courteous means polite. There must be consideration for feelings and viewpoints of the receiver. So you can find there are 7 words over here starting with C. Complete, concise, clear, coherent, concrete, correct, and courteous. Together, they are known as 7 C's of communication. Please note down these points. Complete, concise, clear, coherent, concrete, correct, and courteous. Next, we have, please mute yourselves. This is an order. It is compulsory. If you don't mute yourself, I will remove you from
पेट
the.
भर गया है, पानी पी के मेरा पेट तो देखिए कभी ऐसा निकला है।
I have just removed one student from the class. And I repeat, please keep your mics mute. So the next objective is education. Education means imparting knowledge and instructions, enriching mental faculties, improving skill and building character through training. Training means training includes classroom teaching, lectures, seminars, short courses, conferences, educational tours, film shows, etc. Here you can see Bloom's taxonomy. When we talk about education, there are 6 stages. First one is remembering. For example, if I ask you which are the elements of communication: sender, receiver, encoding, decoding, barriers, channel, feedback, and message. These are the 8 elements of communication. So it is remembering. You are remembering 8 elements. Then the next stage is understanding. What do you understand by the word message? What do you understand by the word feedback? So that is the second stage, that is understanding. Then the next stage is applying. Now you should be able to apply this process of communication to any situation, any real situation where where communication takes place. The fourth stage is analyzing. You should be able to analyze the process of communication. Who is the sender? Who is the receiver? What is the message? You should be able to analyze. The next one is evaluation. You should be able to evaluate. You should be able to list down the positive points and negative points of any process of communication. And the last one is creating. You should be able to create effective communication. So there are 6 stages of education. They are applicable to all types of education. It can be science, it can be commerce, it can be arts. These 6 stages are always there. Please note down the definition of education and training and write down the 6 stages of Bloom's taxonomy. Remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and finally creating. As you can see in the diagram, you cannot go to the next stage or the higher stage unless and until you have mastered the lower stage. Next, we have warning. Warning is a forceful means of communication. It is necessary to give the warning to undisciplined, non-accountable, and unproductive or disruptive individuals. It can be oral in the form of announcement or reprimand, or it can be written in the form of memo or show cause notice. So, if I tell you, please mute yourself or else I will remove you from the lecture. The first part, please mute yourselves, is an order or instruction, or I will remove you from the lecture is a warning. So here you can see a show cause notice, and you can see the other warnings like no smoking and the dangers in pictorial form. So it can be oral or verbal, or it can be non-verbal. Here you can find that words are not used, but here various symbols are used. For example, this is fire, this is a skull, to show the danger sign. You can see the danger sign over here. Here you can see the picture and the word. So please note down. I repeat, warning is a forceful means of communication. It is necessary to give warning to the undisciplined, non-accountable, and unproductive or disruptive individuals. Warning can be oral or it can be written. Next, we have persuasion. So see this picture over here. The first person says, trying to convince people just doesn't work. The second person says, sure, it does. And the first person says, see, I hope you get the humor over here. Persuasion is an attempt to influence one's beliefs, attitudes, intentions, motivations, and behavior. For example, when we talk about advertising, it is a form of persuasion. For example, there are different brands of toothpaste. Nobody can force you to buy a particular brand of toothpaste. Each company will try to influence your choice. And that is something is known as advertising. Advertising always tries to convince the audiences. So it uses persuasion. Then persuasion is also used in sales and marketing, in political campaign, in propaganda. Now see the difference between each one. You already know what is an advertising. For example, an advertising for a, what you can say, a washing powder, Daag Achhe Hai. This was a whole series of advertising. Then you have sales and marketing. Now sales and marketing includes advertising, but it is more comprehensive than advertising. In sales and marketing, you may give some discount. You may have some special offers. So it includes advertising plus something else, whereby you can improve your sales. Next, we come to the political campaign. For example, whenever there is an election, every party tries to influence the voters. They will talk about their good works in the past, and they will also talk about what they intend to do in the future. So it is political campaign. And finally, there is propaganda. Now, in case of propaganda, they want to stop your thinking. In case of advertising, sales and marketing, political campaign, the audience can think. In case of propaganda, the intention is to stop thinking of the audiences. They should passively accept whatever the advertiser or the propagandist wants you to accept. In case of persuasion, there are different strategies. The first strategy is appeal to reason, that is logic, rhetoric, or scientific proof. Why you should do something. Its reason has to be a scientific proof. So that is appeal to reason. The second strategy is appeal to emotion. Here, the appeal is to the imagination, and it also wants to seduce you to accept something without scientific proof. So in case of appeal to reason, there is scientific proof. In case of appeal to emotion, there is no scientific proof. Please note down the points. I repeat, persuasion is an attempt to influence one's beliefs, attitudes, intentions, motivations, and behavior. Persuasion is used in advertising, sales and marketing, political campaign, and propaganda. There are two strategies of persuasion. First one is appeal to reason, and the second one is appeal to emotion. Next, we come to motivation. Motivation is a process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-oriented behaviors. It involves the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate behavior. It is the driving force behind human actions. When you answer the question why, it is motivation. For example, why you attend a lecture or why you don't want to attend a lecture. Its answer is your motivation. Why you want to pursue BCom. The answer to why is motivation. As I said earlier, it is description of why a person does something. There are monetary motivators. The motivation is money. Or there are non-monetary motivations like recognition and award. Now we will see Abraham Maslow's theory of self-actualization. He says that there are 5 levels of motivation. The lowest level at the bottom is physiological needs. A person works because he wants to satisfy his physiological needs. Which are the physiological needs? Food and sleep. So a person works. A person wants to earn money so that he can earn his livelihood. He can buy food. Then, once the physiological needs are satisfied, a person moves to the next level, that is safety needs. A person wants to safeguard himself against any type of danger. It can be natural calamities, it can be wild animals, and it can be anti-social elements. In other words, at this level, a person wants clothes and house because it is the home that safeguards a person from harsh weather, from wild animals, and from thieves. Once your first 2 levels are satisfied, then a person moves to the 3rd level, that is love and belongingness. It is only when a person has enough money to buy food and buy or rent a house, then he thinks about having a family. Why? Because it satisfies the need of love and belongingness. Once the 3 levels are over, the 3 levels needs are satisfied, a person moves to the 4th level, that is extreme needs. A person wants other people to respect him. Now, when a person is at the 1st level, to satisfy one's physiological needs, a person may steal. A person may steal. He may become a thief. But if the first 3 levels are satisfied, a person will not steal. A person will not become a thief because he fears that the other people will not respect him. So, once the 3 levels are satisfied, a person moves to the 4th level, that is extreme needs. And once a person feels that he is well respected in the society, he moves to the last step, that is self-actualization. Now a person works not to satisfy his physiological safety, love and belonging or extreme needs. A person works to satisfy himself. For example, you have Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, please mute yourselves.
Mute yourself.
One ID.
कुछ चाहिए बच्चे आलोक दे कुछ चाहिए ना
Alok.
आलोक चाहिए
book.
For example, Mother Teresa worked for the homeless people not because she wanted to satisfy her physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, extreme needs, because it gave satisfaction to herself. So these are the 5 stages of theory of self-actualization. It is also known as theory of hierarchy of needs. Please note down: motivation is the process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-oriented behavior. It involves biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate behavior. It is the force behind human actions. Motivators can be monetary or non-monetary. Abraham Maslow's theory of self-actualization involves 5 stages, starting from the bottom: physiological needs, safety needs, love and belongingness, esteem needs, and finally, self-actualization. Next, we come to raising the morale. Morale is zeal for action. It is the enthusiasm. It is the collective attitude of the employees towards each other, towards their employer, and towards their work. Advantages of morale: organization functions smoothly, profits and sales are increased, employees have trust in their superiors, employees give full cooperation to the organization. Disadvantages of morale: if morale is low, then low morale indicates employees' lack of trust in the management. Employees waste time in spreading rumors. Profits and sales are affected. Organization lacks goodwill. Please note down these points. I repeat, morale is zeal for action. It is collective attitude of employees.
Ma'am, it is not same. Your
Sorry?
screen is not.
I'm presenting. It should be visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise I'm repeating.
Yes, ma'am.
Morale is a zeal for action. It is the collective attitude of the employees towards each other, towards their employer, and towards their work. Advantages of morale. Organization functions smoothly. Profits and sales are increased. Employees have trust in their superiors. And employees give full cooperation to the organization. Disadvantages of morale. Low morale indicates employees' lack of trust in the management. Employees waste time in spreading rumors. Profits and sales are affected. And finally, organization lacks goodwill. Now we come to the difference between high morale and low morale. In high morale, you have committed and cheerful staff, good interpersonal communication among all the people, supporting employees, willingness to take new idea, high productivity. In contrast, in case of low morale, you have dejected individuals, jealousy, rivalry, and poor communication among staff, complaining staff, unwillingness to learn new techniques, and as a result, low productivity. Please note down the difference between high morale and low morale. I repeat, high morale, committed and cheerful staff, good interpersonal communication, supporting employees, willingness to take new idea, and finally, high productivity. In contrast, you have low morale. Here, you have dejected individuals, jealousy, rivalry, and poor communication among staff, complaining staff, unwillingness to learn new techniques, and finally, low productivity. Now, we come to measures for raising the morale. What should be done to raise the morale of the staff? First one, scope for freedom and creativity. Encouragement. Periodic review and revision of remuneration. Remuneration, salary. Next, total quality management. Next, good system of communication. No favoritism. No should be given special advantages and no person should be discriminated against. Please note down these points. I repeat, measures for raising the morale, scope for freedom and creativity, encouragement, periodic review and revision of salary, good quality management, good system of communication, and finally, no favoritism. So, what we have done in this particular lecture, we will summarize. We have seen primary objectives of communication, namely information, advice, order and instruction, education, and warning. We have also seen secondary objectives of communication, namely persuasion, motivation, and raising the morale. So here we finish with objectives of communication.
Bye, ma'am.
Thanks, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
And
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
again I repeat, unless and until I tell you, please do not say anything. If you have any doubt, you can type in the message box. Otherwise, keep yourself mute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you, madam.
Ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.